What's up guys, Pidget here. Phys in general had always good clear but was lacking signal target damage. In 3.27 this were getting changed, Exsanguinate and Reap getting buffed by 50% on the damage over time proportion, enabling to league start with these skills. Our clear skill is Exsanguinate. You shoot out blood tendrils in a cone that deal physical damage and physical damage over time on hit. This can be stacked up 3 times. Tendrils are not projectiles but they can be supported by chain. It will make your tendrils chain between monsters, making our clear pretty satisfying, although this skill signal target damage is kinda low, so we need to use Reap for signal target and tougher rares. Reap is a physical spell that hits with physical damage and applies a physical damage over time debuff in a targeted area. If all enemies hit by this skill survive, you will gain a blood charge. Blood charges grant you more damage, in exchange it will cost more life, this ability. The reason why we choose Elementalist is because this Ascendancy is just so strong even with the slight nerf on the golem buffs. It will grant you a life regen, increase defenses, attack and cast speed, and just pure damage. Also, when we ignite an enemy, it will convert 40% of the physical damage to fire damage, that is makes us very durable against physical damage. We will inflict pretty huge percentage shocks on the target as well, increasing the damage even further. For league start, we also taking the Bastion of Elements, which is giving us a barrier that can protect us from elemental damage till the shield is depleted. The leveling progression is very important for this build, especially because Exsanguinate and Reap is not available from level 1. At level 12 you can get the Exsanguinate, but it would cost too much life and you cannot sustain it, and also it has a slow cost time, so you need a leveling plan till you can get sustain, damage, also these gems. For this occasion I put together a very nice leveling section that will use Rolling Magma early on and then later on Armageddon Brand and Cremation. And as you can see here, this is how it looks like, the early levels till the first lab and before swap. I try to be very close to be the swap tree as I can, but you will need a few points to respect if you seeing it here. So level 55, after you completed your second lab, very important, after you completed the second lab, you can just respect a few points on the tree. As you can see here, not too much differences from the 2-3 as you can see here, because you're dropping all of the fire damage nodes here, Elemental Overlord for instance, the Fire Walker. This is how it looks like, the swap tree, and then the rest is just literally so straightforward, and then you landing here, and then the endgame tree is looks like this. Refocusing with this build, by the way, you're getting suppression kept even if it's got nerfed, because it's still good, and in the configuration you will find it the nerf as well. So the numbers you see here, it's very close to what you will experience in the game in 3.27. And the other thing is, our defensive layers for this build is evasion and energy shield together, and also Arctic armor and the golem buffs. And we will use Ghost Dance because of that, because we have 20k, almost 20k evasion rating without a flask ticked, by the way. With the flask you have 30k evasion, so it's very nice. And the suppression is capping majority from the tree, as you can see here. And the other very interesting part, guys, I did not use very long time ago the spiritual aid, and we using here the redemption and the righteous army. You know, this is making all the minion nodes apply to us as well, the damage part of the minion nodes, so we will deal a little bit more damage. As you can see here, literally this node gives us 20% more damage alone, so that is very nice. We're taking Elementalist as our Ascendancy. It's not a surprise, I feel like, because golems in general is just so busted, and even after the nerf, which is by the way included in the PoE custom modifier section. So the reason we choosing Elemental is because the golems is giving you way too much power, damage, sustain, defensive, and the cost speed, so they giving you so many things literally. So this is why we using it, and also the Legion of the Pride one, they are making our golems to be elemental damage immune. And the other reason why we choose Elemental is because the Shaper of the Flame, when you hit an enemy, it will getting ignited, and the ignited enemies will convert their physical damage to fire. So this is 40%-ish physical damage reduction, which is very, very welcomed. And also we're using Shaper of Storms because every single hit will shock, and also it will increase the damage taken at least by 25%. Although, because we're taking a little lightning scaling here, this will provide us even more damage increase. So that's why when you just ticking in the shock, you can see here we getting boosted by the damage like 900k, which is very, very nice, and it will be up all the time because of how it's the Shaper of the Storm works. And we using Bastion of Elements for early game. Later on you can just swap out this one for whatever Bloodline Ascendancy you prefer, or what Bloodline Ascendancy will getting used by this build. The skill gems has as well progression, as you can see here, level 12, level 28, level 29 plus when you getting Armageddon brand, and you getting the cremation as well, and then till you can swap to Exsanguinate, Reap, and all of the Phys DoTs in general. But very important, guys, once again, I include here as well, on level 12 you getting the Exsanguinate. You can pick up and just put in your second weapon slot so you can level, because normally the gems stays under leveled, so you will, I would say, struggle kinda with the damage if you swapping. So it's very, very important, as soon as possible Exsanguinate and Reap is available, you need to purchase it immediately. So Reap is available, by the way, guys, at level 28, but if you want to use the WoW variant, you just can purchase from another player and level that one. And basically that's it, guys, for the leveling. As always, guys, I'm trying to use very basic items that you can get on League Start pretty easily, as you can see, absolutely basic stuff. Only one single unique item that I'm not even saying it's required, it's nice to have, and this is coming from Haste, and there will be a lot of Haste, especially because they buffed. This belt will give you a huge amount of physical damage reduction, because enemies ignited and shocked by you have converted damage to fire and lightning, so the physical damage getting converted. That is 30% damage reduction, which is very, very nice, and combined with the Shaper of Flames also converting 40%, so literally we can convert 70% of physical damage on the monsters to elemental damage, because we also taking the Shaper of Storms, so we will ignite, shock, so that is not a problem for us. So this is why in the configuration tab there is a custom modifier that is saying physical damage taken as fire and lightning damage. I just want to point out a few good usable unique items. Talking about the Pyro Shock Collapse, that is from Heist once again, and this will be very, very cheap, I feel like. And the other thing is, guys, maybe this will be not cheap, it's not even required, this is just nice to know. So Cold Iron Port Danger. I don't think I need to present this one if you was playing Phys DoTs or just the Seismic Trap builds before. So this can be a very expensive or very cheap, depends on how much people want this one. And the other one is the Vertex Mask, guys. So this comes from Uberodziri herself. This is, as you can see here, it's very, very nice because it grants you a tons of evasion, energy shield, and also chaos resistance as well. And if you combining with the chaos golem, you already have like 60% chaos resistance right off the bat, so you have positive chaos resistance. But this can be expensive, especially because Odziri is not anymore in the field rotation, so people will not care that much about Uberodziri anymore, I think. So this can be even more expensive than the 10 chaos price from last league. So this few unique items is very nice to have. And also in the notes section, guys, I also included how you can increase the early damages. You can use the Oxium, Perpetuum, Life Spring, and the +1 wand, and the +1 Phys spells. You can store that wands for later use, very nice. And also, as you can see here, the Cold Iron Pond, and also the low level wand trick. You can start a new character and just kill Hillock, go into the town, purchase all the wands from the vendor, and then you can alteration spam it to get +1 Phys spells or the spell damage essence. Although this is obviously on league start, is not really doable until you have alterations and so on. But if you have a nice wand, you can just use that one. So it's not really important. Just a very nice wand, something like this, just on a low level wand. So you will lose out a little spell damage, but you will have a tons of extra damage, and also very easily you can hit +1 with the mentioned methods. Now the skill gems, guys. So we will use multiple active skill gems to deal damage. One is the Exsanguinate. This will be our clear skill once again. We will use with Contradiction, Unleash and Chain. So the Unleash, because the reason for Unleash, when you casting, it will shoot out 3 times. So it will repeat your spell 3 times. You will immediately apply 3 stages Exsanguinate, because as you can see here, that is where our damage coming from with this ability. And the Chain is helping very big time to clear, although it's lowering down or hit damage, but it's whatever. So yeah, this is the clear setup. The signal target setup looks like this. So you will use Val, Reap and Reap, and then you will use Swift Amplification, Efficacy, Brutality, Contra-Distraction, and there is another piece, that Corrupting Fever. So the Corrupting Fever will have a buff duration, but every single time when you spending 240 life, it will getting refreshed immediately, so you can inflict Corrupted Blood. And as you can see here, the Corrupted Blood is dealing like additional almost 400k DPS, which is very nice. And the Varip, you will activate Varip when you starting the boss fight, and then just reap. And in the meantime, you will apply the Exsanguinate when the seals come back. And we will use here Flame Dash, Vulnerability and Life Tap. The Life Tap is very important here, because if you're paying attention, we have 0 mana, exactly 0. So our mana reservation is perfect. We would not able to cast our abilities freely, so we need to use Life Tap here. We're using Shield Charge with Life Tap and Momentum, and the auras here, Malevolence, Grace, Pride and Arctic Armor. Arctic Armor is such a nice aura, because it will grant you physical damage reduction and immune to freeze. And I need to mention here at the auras, you will need one single Javel with 3% increased mana reservation efficiency of skills. Very important and cheap solution, otherwise you cannot activate your auras. And in the boots, we're using the Chaos Golem, Flame Golem, Stone Golem and Lightning Golem. All of them is granting us tons of goodies, such as like chaos resistance, damage over time, damage, aura effect, life regen, defenses and attack and cost speed, which is very welcome, because once again Exsanguinate has a very low cost rate. This build was very satisfying while I was just testing this build without the buffs, by the way. So all the footages that you was seeing, it was without the 50% more damage buff, so it will be even better, by the way. And I was underleveled as well for that content that I was doing. So overall, the build is very promising and it looks very nice. I hope you guys will enjoy it and will have a very nice league start, because this is just so satisfying to play around. And finally we can play Phys DoT. I don't even know when was the last time when I was playing Phys DoT. Maybe when Exsanguinate just got introduced to the game, and that was the only time when I was played the real Phys proportion, not the poison or heat-based miner. So yeah guys, I hope you will find useful this league starter guide, and if you have any question, please leave a comment below, or you can find me on twitch.tv/Pidgeot2. Thanks for watching. I was Pidgeot. See you next time.